Album review number 1! Binary Data Volume 2 by Alfonso Peduto. For more context, Binary Data Volume 2 is a sequel to Binary Data Volume 1, which was released in 2022. 8 songs were in the album, and it spanned through Binary Data 1 through 8. I found Alfonso Peduto around late 2023 on Instagram Reels and was immediately impressed by his work because there are rarely any people like him. A lot of modern pianists and composers, along with orchestra people, will just almost never create their own original pieces of music. They only ever create covers of other songs like classical pieces from the olden days or modern music. They tend to just say, what if this pop song was in orchestra or piano form? And they never really make any original pieces. It kind of is sad nowadays because they only ever are really known as cover bands or cover artists or something like that. That is where Alfonso comes in. He basically makes his own pieces a lot using modern technology. Alfonso uses a special piano called the Disclavier, which is a piano that can delay notes. By that I mean that sometimes whenever he plays a single note, he can code the piano to play that same note back however many times he wants. Let me show you an example of this. It essentially looks like a ghost is playing the piano's extra notes. This is Binary Data 4, which is my favorite song by Alfonso Peduto. It uses a 2-note delay. With just an extra 2 notes, it increases the size of the wall of sound by an insurmountable level. It adds power, it adds complexity, it makes it epic. The funniest thing about this whole thing is that Binary Data 4 is not even the most insane example of these delays. Binary Data Volume 2 goes through Binary Data 9 through 18, meaning there are 10 songs in the album. However, Binary Data Volume 2 is a shorter album in terms of length than Binary Data Volume 1. The songs are quicker, which could be a benefit and a drawback at the same time. We start off with Binary Data 9, which is a much better introduction to an album than Binary Data 1, but there seems to be a problem with the sound quality on Binary Data 9, along with the entirety of Binary Data Volume 2. First, listen to a clip of the main version of this song. Now listen to an Instagram reel that he recorded a while back of this song prior to the album's release. Notice how the Instagram reel variation has far more reverb and boldness in the sound, especially on the high notes of Binary Data 9 where he goes like this with the piano. It has a lot more power, sound, and prominence than in the main version where the high notes just sounds weak and barely even there compared to all the low and middle notes that are going on in the background. This is a problem throughout the entire album where every single song lacks sustaining and reverb and boldness. That was the main problem of the album, but I would like to address the positives of Binary Data 9. The song is fast and epic, and it sounds like an anime fight, much like the rest of the Binary Data series. There seems to be a lot of diversity in the notes, and it definitely cements itself better as an introduction to an album than Binary Data 1. It starts off with a lot, and it gives you a lot more in terms of variety of notes towards the end of the song, and you could feel the wall of sound getting bigger as the song progresses towards a final crescendo. There is not much to say about Binary Data 10 because it rather just sustains the energy of Binary Data 9. It even has the same key and everything, and the energy just remains relatively constant throughout the entire song. However, it does have a very good tune, it has many notes, it sounds rather whimsical in a way, not so much epic like the other Binary Data songs, which I think is a good change of pace for the album. It does not always have to be a one-trick pony in terms of vibes. Data 11 also sustained the vibe, but this time it is in E-flat minor. What I was hoping for this song is to slow down the vibe and be more sad and epic, since E-flat minor is my favorite key of all time, or my favorite chord of all time. And whenever I listen to this chord, I think of sadness, darkness, but power at the same time. And I was hoping for the song to slow down and be sad, but then slowly progress into something that is melancholy and powerful and full of pure sadness, but it remains whimsical. However, there is a very nice rhythm to the song. The rhythm of the high note in the song, or the main high note if you want to call it that, has a very nice rhythm and it sounds unique in a way. Binary Data 12 comes in with plenty of constitution in the sound. It sounds super bold like many of the songs in the Binary Data series. The song is also in F minor, which adds to that. It reminds me of the Victory theme song from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is a really good freaking song, by the way. My gripe about the song is that the progressions, the lows, and the highs sound relatively repetitive, and there is little to no variation in the lows and highs of the song, which is fine, but it does not overstay its welcome in terms of its length. Binary Data 13 is where the album starts to really pick up, and the rhythm is relatively different compared to the previous songs in the album. The song is in G minor, which adds to the greatness of the song because I really love that key as well. Also, the main section does have a lot of build-up prior to it, but I think it is well worth the wait. The main melody in the main section sounds hopeful, if that makes any sense. I just wish the main section had a little bit more power and probably even more notes to add on to the hopefulness or the hopeful power of the song. Binary Data 14 returns back to the similar rhythm of the first 4 songs in this album, and it comes in with an energy that is similar to Binary Data 12, but with far more boldness. Albeit, the main gripe that I have about this song is that the melody remains relatively constant throughout this entire song, more so than the previous 5 songs in this album, and there is not much evolution. However, I think one of my favorite parts of the song is the part approaching the halfway mark, where this part seems whimsical and then it starts to get really serious. I think it sounds really nice, along with the bold melody of this song. Binary Data 15 is a really aggressive song and it's probably the most powerful song on the album. It comes in immediately sounding like it is stabbing you in the face with pure power. The bass notes add on to the prominence and the constitution of the song. It is more powerful in terms of the beginning than Binary Data 14. The halfway point of the song is where the high note melody starts to come in, and this is where the song starts to add even more emotion. It sounds diverse. I think this is the song on the album which does not have the same sustaining or reverb problem, because Binary Data 15 probably has the biggest wall of sound than any other song on the album, and is therefore one of my favorites on the album. Transitioning to Binary Data 16, I think this may actually be the weakest song on the album because it actually remains in the same key as Binary Data 15, but it lowers the energy by a strong amount. The melody remains relatively constant and there really is nothing special about this song, but I think this is the first song on the album that kind of overstays its welcome. I think it should have been made in a different key, and I think it should have relaxed the energy of Binary Data 15, but in a more dark and ominous manner, if that makes any sense. Binary Data 17 has to probably be my favorite on the album. Albeit the rhythm is relatively stagnant throughout the entire song, the beautiful diverse melody more than makes up for it. The melody has so many notes in it here and there seems to be some sort of key shifting or pitch shifting within the melody temporarily for small bits of the song to add on to the beauty and diversity and probably the shift in emotions for this song. Finally, we have Binary Data 18, which is not a bad song, but compared to Binary Data 8, which is the final song off of Binary Data Volume 1, it is a bit disappointing. The melody and the rhythm are relatively stagnant and there is not much evolution or change. The phases of the song have relatively identical startups, and it sounds like I am putting the song on repeat in a way. If Alfonso Peduto wanted a different vibe for the ending, maybe he could have gone for a soothing and beautiful route for the ending. One more thing that's disappointed me is that prior to this album's release, Alfonso Peduto posted an Instagram reel of a clip of a song that was probably going to make it into Binary Data Volume 2, but it sounds like it did not make it at all, and this song is freaking amazing. Wish that song was at the end of Binary Data Volume 2, but alas, it may appear in Volume 3 if there ever is one. Overall, Binary Data Volume 2 is a great album despite my many nitpicks. It sacrifices beauty for constitution and sacrifices variety and diversity for consistency. Both of these are benefits and drawbacks for the album according to certain songs in here. Binary Data 17 is my favorite song in here because it has lots of beauty despite its stagnant rhythm. There should be more diversity in the rhythm and melody in future iterations of Binary Data songs. Overall, I am going to have to give Binary Data Volume 2 a 94%. I hope Alfonso Peduto sees this. He is currently my favorite modern pianist of all time. Anyway, that is all for today. This is the old one logging out, and stay alive.